Hello, Warrior. My name is Lawrence Stone, and I am the Basic Trainer, and I want to establish a rhythm to your vision. Once again, thank you so much for subscribing to these emails, following me on my YouTube channel, all the things. If you're not, please do so. You might notice my daughter in the background. She's with me at work today. Go ahead and wave to everyone after. Or don't. So I really appreciate all that you do for me and how hopefully you'll find value in these lessons. And if you know of anyone else who finds value in these lessons, or an amusing little girl who likes amusing little girls in the background, please share this with them, subscribe to my email, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and encourage others to do so as well. Thank you. With that, thank you. Go play. This week we're talking about the Miles Davis principle. This is something I came up with in college when I was studying music. Obviously, I listened to a lot of jazz. If you don't know who Miles Davis is, it's because you don't have enough jazz in your life. And honestly, it doesn't take much jazz to get Miles Davis and know who he is, because he is one of the most influential jazz artists of all time, arguably the most influential. And I came up with this principle. Basically, what the Miles Davis principle states is that in order for a lesson to be effective, when the student walks out the door or leaves your presence, they take something with them that they can contemplate and can potentially improve their lives. Okay, so this is a principle for anyone who teaches or influences or instructs or leads or manages other people. Okay, when you are instructing them, when you are teaching them, you need to have a point. You need to have a purpose. Give them something that they can take away, so when they go, it can potentially improve their lives for the better. Okay, and what had happened when I was in college is I was exploring different career paths and options, and I was given an opportunity at one point to sit in a classroom and teach a class for a week, and considering one of my career paths. And I enjoyed it. I was even being watched and critiqued by the actual teacher of that class. So it's his class that I was taking over, and he was there giving me feedback at the end of each class. And unfortunately, there ended up being a hiring freeze, and I wasn't able to get the job, but that's okay because I learned a lot going through that process anyways. And the first day I was teaching that class, I had it for a week, and it felt great. The students seemed to be involved. I worked hard in preparing the material. And at the end of the class, the teacher came up to me and to give me the critique. And he's like, they were very involved. You asked great questions. You clearly knew the material. He says, I just have one question / critique for you. And I said, okay, what is it? He said, what was the point of your lesson? And I said, well, it was to teach the reading material that they were supposed to be studying. And he said, no, that was the material you had to use for the lesson. What was the point of your lesson? And I couldn't answer that. I didn't know what he was talking about. I just didn't understand it. Like, I knew it, but it was one of those things I just didn't quite get through my thick skull. And he said, you started the lesson and you started teaching this idea and this principle. And you started it, but then you didn't commit to it. You pulled back, and then you went to another part of the reading material, and you started teaching this principle. But you didn't commit to it. And then you came back, and you went back to the reading material, and then you started down this path, and then the class was over. He said, all three of those were legitimate areas that you could have gone to. And he took one, and he gave me an example of how I could have used that and gone in a certain direction. And he said, that way, when the students leave the classroom and they walk out that door, as they're going about their days, they can be thinking about what you taught them, the principle. It wasn't just the reading assignment. It was what were they supposed to get out of the reading assignment to improve their lives. And they're supposed to be thinking about that and hopefully applying it in their lives and living better lives. And I contemplated on that really hard. around that same time, I don't know if it was the exact same week or not, but it was probably that same semester at least. I was with some friends and we were listening to Miles Davis. And Miles Davis recorded this album called Kind of Blue. It's the greatest selling jazz album of all times. And it is one of my all-time favorites. I love this album. And one of the reasons why I love it is because of the bass player in it. Go figure. Paul Chambers was Miles Davis' bass player for a number of years. And Mr. PC wrote some of the most iconic, or performed some of the most iconic bass lines in jazz music. And one of those songs is a song titled So What? And if you're not familiar with the song, it's a fantastic song. Mr. PC basically plays the melody. He has the melody in the song. And if you're not familiar with it, plugged in my amp, see how good I am on camera. Okay, that's the essential. And then the horns come in. Doo, 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 and so on. And there's a little variation that comes along, but that's the general idea of the song. And we were listening to it, and all of a sudden the horn part, my friend sings So What, which is the name of the song, right? And I'm correlating this with what I'm learning to do in teaching classes and teaching better classes. And I realize that's what I need to do. When I finish my lesson, I need to go back and think to myself, so what? What was the purpose of that lesson? I taught this, and this. So what? And so now when I go and I teach lessons, and I'm preparing lessons and I'm preparing curriculum like this email for you, I will go back and sometimes I'll sing this song. Sometimes I'll play this song. Sometimes I'll just think about this song. Sometimes I'll have my bass out and I'll play the song. So what? And I'll think about that question over and over again. So what? So what? So what? Okay? So when you're teaching, have a purpose, have a point, have a so what. That's what the Miles Davis principle is. Figure out the so what, so that way you can make sure you're teaching a principle or an idea that when your students leave your presence, they can be meditating on it, they can be contemplating it, and applying it into their lives to potentially improve their lives for the better. So it needs to be a positive principle, it needs to be a good principle, it needs to be a growth principle. But if you look at it from so what, you will be able to find that and include it in your lessons and improve the lives of your students, your children, your employees, whoever you are influencing. Okay? So you will notice that if you work with me as a coach or in my emails, I literally get up and I say your homework or your assignment or what you need to do next. Because that so what principle has been driven into me. I want to make sure you know how to apply what I'm teaching and what you're going to do next. So your homework with this email this week is to take a look at a curriculum, something you've either taught or something you're going to teach, right? Maybe it's a continual lecture that you've given to your kids over and over and over again, and they just don't seem to get it. Maybe why they're not getting it is because you haven't figured out the so what. What are they supposed to take with them? Yeah, you keep telling them what they're doing wrong, but give them something to do to change their lives. And if you haven't written it out, write it out, outline it, whatever you need to do. And then before you consider yourself done, I want you to listen to this song by Miles Davis, So What? I'll include a link in my email to a YouTube video with the song on it. And listen to it. And think to yourself, so what? And realize what the purpose is of your lesson. And if you need to make adjustments, if you don't know what the so what is, you need to redo the lesson. And then make sure you reiterate the so what. Okay? Homework. Go out, find the so what in your lesson, make sure it's there, reiterate it. It's going to elevate you. When I started doing this for the rest of the week, when I taught, I made sure I had a purpose. And my lessons went from I was a good teacher to I felt like I was a great teacher and I had a purpose. The Miles Davis principle can literally take your teaching from a mediocre or a good teacher to a great teacher with a purpose. So use it and apply it. You'll do amazing things. Just watch what happens. You're awesome. Go do it. Hello again, Warrior. I got a helper with me today, but just wanted to talk about some of the other stuff I'm working on with my business in the Basic Trainer. Is I want to help businesses now. I want to work with teams. I enjoy working with individuals, but what I really have a passion for is getting up in front of people and coaching and mentoring groups of people. With that, I want to help you with your business. One of the things I do as a coach is I study the habits of successful people or successful businesses, and I teach them and train them to the people I'm working with. One thing you might not be aware of, a study was done that researched mentor programs in businesses and mentoring programs for employees, and it found that 84% of Fortune 500 companies have some sort of mentoring program for the employees, and 100% of Fortune 50 companies have a mentoring program. It also discovered that turnover rates were decreased, employees felt more valued and their work was more valuable, and 97% of employees who were mentored felt like it was more valuable. So I would love to help you set up mentoring programs in your work. I would love to be able to come in and help you mentor your employees. Or we can even train employees to do internal mentoring as well and set up programs inside. So reach out to me. You can go to my website, thebassictrainer.com, and you can sign for a free discovery phone call or appointment, or I can even, if you're local, I can come in and train you, or I can even do it online over Zoom, and we can talk about how to develop mentoring programs for your employees. Thank you.